And I'm very excited for our first guest. He is Tripp Watts, and I'm not sure how to introduce you, Tripp, because there is a number of titles that you have. We were talking about him during the off break, but you are here to talk about the 10U Lancaster Dixie All-Stars. And very briefly, to introduce you, you were the coach at Buford for many years, and you are helping out with the Lancaster football team, but you have a couple of kids, and you're coaching one of them with the 10U Lancaster Dixie All-Stars. You're the head coach of that baseball team. And you guys are headed to Louisiana next week. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to Bossier City, Louisiana.
All right. So tell me about this. To do this, you would have had to have won the state tournament. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So the way it starts is you start in district. So we play teams around our area. Like it was 5 teams: us, Louisville, Great Falls, South Spartanburg, and Woodruff. So we held that tournament in the 1st of June. We won that tournament, and then you move on to the state tournament. And it's 11 districts around our state, and then 1 host. So there's 12 teams in the state tournament. And we end up going 6-1 in the state tournament and winning the state tournament. So we got a bid to Bossier City to go play in the World Series.
So where was the state tournament held?
It was held in Midlands, right there in Columbia.
Okay. What ballpark was that?
Midlands Ballpark.
Okay.
It's Pine Ridge, I think.
Yep.
Pine Ridge, South Carolina. Right there in the outskirts of Columbia.
So when a team is successful, and I want Catherine to join in because she's got some boys that play baseball at a very high level. I always like to ask this question when a team is successful and makes it to a certain run or makes it to a certain point. At what point in the season did you think, all right, we got something here? Did you think at any point we can do this? We can win this state tournament and make a run here.
I've been with these guys since they were 5-6 years old.
Oh wow!
So it's been a long time. We all started in Dixie at that age. We've done a little bit of travel, but everything we've done has been based out of Lancaster Dixie. We've practiced with these guys for a long time, and it's actually different age groups. There's an age group below them that's just as good, and then there's an age group above them that's just as good. And a majority of these kids are going to go to Buford High School, AJ High School, and I think we have one from Indiana High School. So these guys are getting ready to, when they graduate our program and go into middle school, and they got a chance to make some noise at the high school level. But we've had these guys for a long time, and this season, to answer your question, it was probably mid-April, getting into May, when we looked at each other and said, hey, we got a chance to make another run and to win this thing.
That's impressive. As Tyler had already mentioned, I have 2 children that play ball. They play in rec league through York's rec league, and they were on the All-Star team this summer as well. They're on the 12U team, and it is a whole nother ball game, for lack of better words, going to All-Stars versus just the regular season. And these are like the elite kids of that, Parks and Recreation, that whole group of kids. And it's a lot on the parents. It's not just the kids, because you give up your summer because you don't know when and if it's going to happen. And if it does, it's all hands on deck, because for us, it was going to go to Somerville, and then we'd be down there in Louisiana in our age bracket. But we did not make it past regional with our kids, but it's just a lot of commitment for the parents and the kids. I mean, it's practicing every day of the week. Tell us a little bit about what they're putting in.
There is a lot of sacrifices, but the good thing about the sacrifices at a young age is because when you get into high school ball, especially football, because you go through the summer workouts and everything. So if these kids are deciding to play football or baseball at the high school level, they're going to have to do a lot more sacrificing because of how coaches run their programs. You saw that this summer with us. There's our guys and our parents didn't get it. They're not taking vacations. They bought into everything that we've sold them, and they've been there every day. And I don't know how y'all practiced, but we go 4, 5, 6 times a week. And we don't go an hour and a half. We go 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. So these guys are going through, I guess we can call them high school practices. I mean, because we're not easy on them. I'm a former high school coach. I think you know what I seen when I get kids at the high school level, and what I think needs to be taught, especially at a rec level, is we talk a lot on attitude and effort. We talk a lot on bringing it every day, of how to break an athlete down and build that athlete back up. So these kids are a little bit different when you look at the rec level, usually, and that comes back on me, because sometimes I'm just hard on them, but I love them even harder. And I always tell them, hey, if you play for me, you're a kind of special guy, because I'm tough.
Well, it's great to hear, because you're maturing them at a very young age. I mean, you use some very mature words there that, but kids 10U aren't used to hearing, and I personally like to hear that. And I think another reason is kind of the outlining area. As someone who's covered high school sports for 20 years, AJ and Buford baseball programs are very strong, very competitive. I'm curious, do you have a relationship? Do you talk to the high school coaches? Because they're going to see these kids in 4 years, right?
Funny you say that. Last night I invited all the high school area coaches to our practice. So they all got to come out and watch us practice, and got to say a few words afterwards. That was one thing when I was coaching at the high school level, that I made sure that I got down to our rec levels and go speak to those guys, that those guys were seeing my face, that they knew who I was. And I think that was important to have those guys out. And our kids and the coaches, and there was a couple of ball players that came too, high school ball players that came. They just mesh really well. Like you said, our kids are a little bit mature, a lot mature for 10 years old. And our coaches, you're able to talk with these guys, and they can actually talk baseball. They kind of, they know what's going on, and it's fun to see happening. And last night was really fun to watch our coaches come out and talk with our guys.
Well, I think that's great, because the style coaching that you just said that you have, I think not enough credit is given to parents that coach, or any other coach that really instills a sense of ownership in the athletes, as well as maturity. And you know what? You don't win them all, and that's okay, but patting them on the back, like, we'll get them next time, kiddo. No, like, what did we do wrong? What caused us to lose this game? How are we going to fix that? Having those conversations at the end of the game in the huddle is important, because that's getting them ready and separating them from all the other kids in the league when they're trying out for high school ball later on.
Can't you tell she's a baseball parent?
Oh, yeah.
My husband's also a coach as well, so.
We talk a lot about accountability. And that's a lot of things that that I do with our guys is, don't blame something on somebody for what you did. Take accountability for what you did, either good or bad, and let's move on. So that's a huge thing that we do in our program too.
I think that's really important, because it's also about the team. And I think a lot of times people will say, oh, the best player on the team's the pitcher. Well, if you have an amazing pitcher and nobody else is worth a toot, you're losing. You can't win with just one good player. And I know a lot of the kids will get upset, oh, I'm in outfield. You are important, very important in the outfield if you've been placed in outfield, because if they hit a bomb into outfield and there's nobody out there to get it in field, hey, they got to run.
Yep.
You just unlocked coaches mode in Catherine just now. We're finishing up with Tripp Watts, the 10U Lancaster Dixie All-Star team. All right, Tripp, we got to get to this. There is a link that people can go to donate to help you guys make the trip, for food, for hotels, travel, things like that. You guys are headed to Louisiana next Thursday, and I guess the weekend's going to be all weekend. So what is the link? Where can people go?
Our Venmo is Lancaster Dixie AAA, and it's spelled just like that all together. Our Cash App is $Lancaster Dixie AAA.
Okay. Very good. And they can find it on social media as well. I know I shared a couple things on Interstate 107's Facebook page. Really quick, want to ask you this. You have been an assistant coach with the Lancaster football team, and I was fortunate to be a part of one of the games of the run that you guys had last year a run of which during the regular season, nobody would have thought Lancaster was a team that nobody wanted to play in the playoffs. Turned out you guys were that team. You knocked off a top seed in Ridgeview on the road. Then you went on the road again and knocked off a top seed in Lucy Beckham. I was there for that one. That was an unbelievable performance you guys put on. And then went on the road and took on a South Florence team. You guys got off to a rough start. I would like to see a mulligan of that game because you guys just got off to a rough start there. But that had to be an incredible run because there were a lot of people that just kind of doubted you guys. You had so many competitive games. And what's exciting is that you have so many players from that team coming back for 2024.
You're absolutely right. That Lancaster football team last year, I guess the word you can use is resilient. They play really hard. Last year, it was once we got into the playoffs, it got magical. It seemed like the guys wanted to be there. They, you have a 1-9 season. A lot of guys just, they. Heads are down, body language is terrible, but it didn't happen. They came to practice every day. They still thought they had a chance to win. We was into a lot of ball games, especially in region last year.
Yeah.
And the coaching staff, they just kept, they kept coaching hard and kept believing. And the guys bought into it, and we made a heck of a run in the playoffs last year. And I hope we could pick it up where they left off from. And get it rolling for this fall.
Special run. Well, Coach Tripp Watts, thank you for coming in early this morning, and best of luck to the 10U Lancaster Dixie All-Stars next Thursday as you guys hit the road to Louisiana.